everyone, and welcome back to the English 360 podcast. I'm Mia.
Hello, Mia, and hello, everyone. It is great to be here again.
It's wonderful to have you back, Alex. And to all our incredible listeners, thank you for tuning in. Today, we have the most important topic for starting a conversation. Talk about yourself.
That's right, Mia. Whether you're at a job interview, making a new friend, or giving a presentation, the first hurdle is always answering the question, "Tell me about yourself."
Exactly. Before we teach you how to sound interesting, a quick favor. If you love learning English with us, remember to hit that subscribe button, share this episode with your friends who are also learning, and give us a thumbs up. That really helps us out a lot.
Yes, please do, and we love hearing from you too. So feel free to leave a comment about how you introduce yourself in English. Now, Mia, let's start with the basics. If you meet someone new, what's the first question you ask beyond their name?
I usually start with the casual question, "What do you do?" It covers work and education without being too formal.
What do you do? Perfect. We'll show our listeners how to answer this naturally, using verbs like work as, study, and major in.
And we'll cover the fun stuff too, talking about your hobbies and interests, because that's where the real conversation begins.
Okay, Mia, let's start with the very first step of talking about yourself, your name and where you're from. Simple, but easy to get wrong.
Right. You don't just say, "My name is Mia." You say, "My name is Mia, and I'm a language specialist." Give them a little extra information right away.
Good point. Now let's talk about location. If someone asks, "Where are you from?" you need two verbs.
Yes, you need the verb be to state your origin. I am from London. And you need the verb live to state your current location. I live in New York. Learners often confuse those two ideas.
That is a classic mistake. I am from birthplace versus I live in current city. Now let's tackle the most common conversation question. What do you do?
I love that question because you can answer it professionally or casually. Professionally, I work as a podcast producer. Work as is the key phrasal verb.
And if you are still studying?
You use the verb study. I study marketing at a university. Or if you want to be more specific, I'm majoring in communication. Majoring in is a great natural phrase.
I'm majoring in. Perfect. Now let's talk about the past. How do you describe a previous job briefly?
You use the verb used to. I used to work in advertising, but now I'm a podcaster. Used to is great for showing a difference between the past and present.
That verb is essential for telling your story. Now, sometimes the conversation goes to family. What are the common verbs here?
The verb have. You have a family. I have 2 siblings. Or, I have a spouse and 1 child. Keep it simple and use the verb have.
And if you don't have siblings, you can say, "I am an only child." That's a perfect set phrase. Now, let's bring the conversation back to the present and personality. How do you describe yourself?
I use the verb consider or am. I am an organized person. Or I consider myself to be friendly. Adjectives are key here. Friendly, focused, outgoing, shy.
Outgoing and shy. Those are high-value adjectives. So for this block, remember your two location verbs, the phrase work as, in the essential adjective vocabulary to talk about your personality. That sets the stage for a great introduction.
Okay, Alex. Once you cover the basics, name and job, the conversation has to move to interests and hobbies to keep things from getting boring. What's the number one phrase for talking about what you love doing?
It's the phrase, I'm into. It's casual and sounds totally natural. You don't just say, I like. You say, I'm really into hiking on the weekends.
I'm into is fantastic. Now let's talk about specific activities. If you play a sport or an instrument, what verb do you use?
The verb play. You play basketball or you play the piano. Simple. But notice we use the before the instrument, but not before the sport.
Great grammar point. Play the guitar, play soccer. That's important for listeners to fix right away. What about reading?
You read a book or you read novels. But if you want to sound more sophisticated, you can say, I am a huge fan of science fiction. Huge fan is a great conversational tool.
Huge fan. I love that. Now, let's talk about the verbs of relaxation. How do you unwind after a busy day?
I like to chill out. Chill out is a perfect modern phrasal verb for relaxing. I chill out by watching movies or binge-watching a new series.
Binge-watching, that's essential modern slang. What about creative hobbies?
You use the verb do or make. You make jewelry or you do photography. These simple verbs cover a wide range of creative hobbies.
And if you like traveling?
You travel abroad or you go on trips, but the best way to talk about the feeling is I love exploring new places. Exploring is a strong, dynamic verb.
Exploring new places. That tells your listener a lot about you. Now, let's talk about frequency. How do you tell someone how often you do these things?
We use adverbs of frequency, which we covered before. I usually go hiking, or I often play video games. Always use the simple present tense with these.
So, for this block, the key is to sound enthusiastic. Use I'm into for hobbies, huge fan of for passion, and great modern verbs like chill out and binge watch.
This vocabulary takes your conversation from factual to fascinating. Next, let's talk about future plans and goals.
Mia, once you've covered the present, a natural way to continue the conversation is by asking about future plans and goals. It shows you're interested.
Absolutely. For future plans, we use two main structures. The first is, I am going to. For example, I'm going to travel to Spain next year. It's a definite plan.
And the second structure, for less definite plans or ambitions, is I want to or I hope to. For example, I hope to learn a third language eventually. Hope to is less committal than going to.
That's a crucial distinction for our listeners. Now, let's talk about career goals. How do you express ambition in the workplace?
You use the verb aim. I aim to get a promotion this year. Or you can say you plan to move up in the company. Move up is a strong career phrasal verb.
Move up? Perfect. Now, what about long-term personal goals?
You can use the verb try. I am trying to eat healthier, or I am trying to save money. It shows effort toward a goal.
And what if you are making progress? We need a phrase for that.
You can say, I'm working on it. It's a great simple phrase that tells people you are making an effort but haven't finished yet.
I'm working on it. Fantastic. Now, let's talk about hypothetical situations, which often come up in conversation. How do you talk about things you might do?
You use the conditional phrase, if I had time. For example, if I had time, I would learn how to play the drums. It shows potential interests that are currently blocked.
That's a great advanced structure for beginners to master. It makes you sound much more fluent. Now, let's talk about dreams. How do you ask someone about their biggest ambition?
I'd ask, what do you dream of doing? Or, what's your biggest goal? The answer will often start with, my dream is to, followed by an infinitive.
My dream is to, simple, clear. So for this block, focus on your future tenses. Use I am going to for definite plans, I hope to for wishes, and the powerful phrase, I'm working on it, to show effort.
Mastering these structures means you can keep the conversation going beyond a simple introduction and share your aspirations.
Alex, we've covered the present, the past, and the future. Now let's talk about what makes conversation great, anecdotes and culture. How do you encourage someone to share a personal story?
I always ask a follow-up question that starts with why. If they say, I'm into hiking, I ask, why did you get into that? Get into is a great phrasal verb for starting a hobby.
Get into, perfect. And if someone mentions traveling, how do you ask for a story about a trip?
I'd ask, what was the highlight of your trip? Highlight is a strong noun that makes them share a great memory.
Highlight is essential. Now let's look at a common cultural difference, being too humble. Many cultures are very modest, but in English, you need to use strong verbs when talking about your achievements.
That's true. If you won an award, you shouldn't just say, I got an award. You should say, I won the award, or I achieved that milestone. Use achieved or won to show pride in your success.
Use strong verbs. Another cultural mistake is not asking the question back. If someone asks you, what do? You must always reply with, how about you? Or what about yourself?
Yes, that's a crucial social softener. It shows you're engaged. Never let a conversation become a one-way interview.
Now, let's look at a common mistake when talking about preferences, using more. Is it correct to say, I like reading more?
It's understandable, but the native phrase is, I prefer reading to watching TV. The structure prefer X to Y is the most natural way to talk about preferences.
Prefer X to Y. That's a great fix for fluency. So to wrap up our conversational techniques, use get into for hobbies, highlight for stories, and always ask the question back using what about yourself?
By using these techniques, you transform from a passive responder into an active, engaging conversationalist. That's the real goal of fluency.
Alex, we've covered the entire journey of talking about yourself, from the basics to sharing your biggest dreams.
Yes, Mia. let's quickly review the most important verbs and phrases we used.
For the basics, remember I am from versus I live in, and use work as for your job. For personal history, remember used to.
For hobbies, remember the casual phrase I'm into and the strong adjective huge fan of. For relaxation, use chill out or binge watch.
For the future, use I am going to for definite plans and I'm working on it to show effort.
That's a fantastic conversational toolkit. By using these phrases, you'll be able to introduce yourself with confidence and keep the conversation flowing naturally.
And if you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share this episode.
We love to hear from you, so leave a comment below and tell us one thing you are working on right now.
So until next time, keep practicing your English and keep chatting.
Goodbye.